one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. It's gotta mean something to you. It gotta mean something. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2-3. 1, 2, 3. Finish.
I can't even think about all of the shit I did to fit in. Past hard to watch like a fucking scary movie. I'm always happy to meet somebody that never knew me. Change for the better, hope niggas are living through me. I put it all on the wax so the people can know the true me. Hard to remain sane when the people you love the most is what's causing the damn pain. Y'all beef by the same thing, we ain't playing the same game. It's all for my family. She the girl of your fucking dreams, but to me she a plain Jane. You dipper and ball man, I duck when them calls came. This that higher level thinking. I'm the type to jump the fuck off of the shit before it's sinking. Not here for no new shit, my game slider boosted. Ain't I don't have to prove shit, Rockstar fight the fool shit. My movie, this the new script. I want a life with no bullshit, nigga. I know on these news clips, that's why I dap him and move quick. Won't be around when they move switch, won't be around when they lose clips, won't be around for they lose lips. Might be the reason they pull shit. Yeah.
You don't understand what's happening here. I'm in God mode nowadays, son. I'm the tribal chief. I'm the head of your table. I'm the provider around here, huh? I'm the greatest of this generation, no questions asked. I'm the greatest universal champion of all time, which makes me the greatest to ever do this.
You imagine waking up on Sunday and your team took a L before you went to sleep that day. Tough Sunday, buddy. Hey, yo, welcome back. Another episode kicking it with Saint. I, for some fucking reason, still sick. 4 weeks into this bad boy. I ain't never in my life been sick this long, bro. The sickness don't affect nothing with me, so it's not really. It's more like a cold, I guess you could say. It's really not affecting anything except for the fact that I cough up so much mucus and whatnot. Other than that, though, you know, the kid's been good. It's business as usual. Week 10 breakdown, yo. I did the NFC. I did the UFC 281 breakdown. I still got to do another video on that. But y'all should check that out, yo. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, just go check that one out, you know. Yeah. Anyways, week 10. Boy, what a week. Listen, man. After I go over these games, I'm going to talk about the Vikings. But I just want to let you know, I still do not believe in the Vikings. Like, I saw Joy Taylor say the other day, I saw two people say funny things to me about funny things that was funny to me about the Vikings. One person, I can't remember the dude's name, but he was like, I know the Vikings had this concept of scoring the first drive of the game and the last drive of the game and finding a way to win. And then I remember Joy Taylor saying, like, she will be the last person to hop on the Vikings bandwagon. I promise you will not be on the bandwagon later than me. These motherfuckers can win a Super Bowl, and I'm probably going to be like, yeah, but I don't know if this fucking team is really that. Nah, I'm not that ignorant. But I just want to me, it's not even hard breaking down the Vikings. It's just going to be hard to break them down to a Viking fan that's they're just going to be like, bro, we winning. That they not trying to hear none of the other things in it. But I don't think the Vikings, listen, every team wins these games. You got to go on the road. You got to make the plays to win the games, to win them, that win games. But the Bills did a lot of stupid shit in this game to lose them the game. All right, Josh Allen did a lot of things. I was about to say uncharacteristic of Josh Allen, but Josh Allen has been pretty turnover prone so far this season. I'm pretty sure he'll get that issue corrected, but I'm just saying, bro, I was critical, not necessarily critical. Last year when the Bengals was on their run, I broke down a lot of their wins where I'm like, I understand they won, and, you know, I even understand they got to the Super Bowl. But I was the last one on that train, too. Well, not necessarily, because I never even hopped on the train. But in the sense, I was like, bruh, I don't think the Bengals is necessarily better than everybody else. It's just the way they get to win these games, bro. Like, if you could see how defenses have played against them, like, you just see defenses do shit where you like, bruh, it's no way that this is occurring right now. but we're not hopping back into that. But I'm just saying, the Vikings, we'll get to them. Week 10, a recap of Week 10. We had a game in Munich. But let's run through the scores real quick. The Chargers, the Niners, Sunday Night Football. The Chargers were in San Fran taking on the 49ers. They lose that game 16-22. I did not realize, or maybe I did and just didn't think about it until the game started. None of the starting receivers is healthy for the Chargers. And that's very interesting to me how the game plan is called when that is the case. But we'll get into that. Seattle, Tampa Bay, in Munich. I guess this was supposed to be a Tampa Bay game, home game type atmosphere. I don't know. It was one of the it was in Germany. Seattle loses that game 16-21. That's 2 dubs in a row for divorced Brady. Look at him. Minnesota, the game we were just talking about, headed to Buffalo to take on the Buffalo Bills, and they win that game 33-30. New Orleans went to Pittsburgh to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. They lose that game 10-20. Pittsburgh picked up that dub. Detroit on the road against Chicago in a comeback win that I just don't know how they made. It is kind of confusing, but they come back to win that game 31-30 against the Chicago Bears in Chicago. Denver on the road in Tennessee. They lose that game 10-17. Cleveland on the road in Miami. They lose that game 17-39. Jacksonville on the road in KC. They lose that game 17-27. Houston on the road in New York. It's not necessary. Either way, they on the road taking on the Giants. They lose that game 16-24. Indy was on the road taking on Vegas. They win that game 25-20. Dallas on the road taking on Green Bay. And I'm going to talk about this game because this was disgusting. They lose the game 28-31 after going into the fourth quarter with a 14-point lead with the best defense in football in a lot of people's eyes. But like I said, we'll get to that. And Arizona lost. Arizona headed to the Rams. They took on the Rams in L.A. And they win 27-17 in a game that was the backup to the backup to the backup to the backup. It was not a very entertaining game, to say the least. Kyler Murray was hurt. Buddy Stafford was hurt. And then the last game that we watched, that I watched last night was the Philadelphia Eagles were at home taking on the Washington Commanders. And Philly ended up winning that game. Now, I don't have the score sitting right in front of me, but I'm going to have it in like the next couple minutes. Or in the next couple minutes, I'm going to have that score. Now, the score to that game, I do remember, is a little bit exaggerated because that what Scott Van Pelt called that shit? I can't remember what he called it. The whoop-de-whoop. I don't remember what he called that shit. But where they just throw the ball around at the last play of the game and shit, that ended up getting turned over. So they ended up winning by the score should have been 26-21 to end the game. But I think it was like 32-21. As a matter of fact, hold up. I'm about to have the score right now. Yeah, it was 32-21 to end the game because I don't even think they kicked the field goal to end the game. So I don't necessarily care that the score looked bigger than it was. It was really just 26-21. And the Eagles had multiple opportunities. We'll get to that game when we get to that game. On this episode, we might not even be talking about that game because the two games we're going to be talking about specifically on this episode is Dallas, Green Bay, Seattle, Tampa Bay. Am I going to talk about Minnesota in this one or the Vikings? We're going to talk about the Chargers, hold up. Okay, so in this episode, we're going to be talking about Green Bay. We're going to be talking about Tampa Bay, Seattle. And we're going to be talking about the Chargers. Starting off with Green Bay. That was absolutely disgusting by the Cowboys. Absolutely fucking disgusting. To go into now, it's I don't get really overhyped about too many losses, too many wins in the season, unless it's my team, the Ravens. The red don't matter. I'm a Raven. But unless we talking about the Ravens, I don't necessarily get too high, too low about certain wins and losses. However, it was a little bit different for me this weekend when watching the Cowboys because a couple things played into the fact that this was a very disappointing, and I'm not even a Cowboy fan, and this pissed me off, kind of like seeing them lose this game. And if you're a Packer fan and you've been listening to me be very critical of your team over the last couple weeks, I would really say I've been more critical of Rodgers than the team because I done told you how I think this team could have been playing better the whole time. They literally did what I've been saying they need to do all season to win this game. But we'll get to that in a second. But to lose this game, if you are the Dallas Cowboys, to me is so embarrassing in so many different ways. Not even adding on the fact that you lose this game, the Eagles lose on Monday Night Football, ending their undefeated season. So if you win this game, the type of cushioning, the type of driver's seat you might be able to put yourself in if you win. So as we get into this game, it's a lot of reasons as to why this is probably the most irritating loss a team done took this season, in my opinion. Probably wouldn't put it over the Ravens' couple losses because a lot of every single one of the Ravens' losses done pissed me off. Should have beat the Bills, should have beat the Dolphins, should have beat the the Giants. The Ravens should have beaten every single one of them fucking teams. But it sting a little bit more because that's a team I root for. That's a team I got tattooed on my arm. So a little bit different. In a sense of teams that I do not root for, though, but I'm invested because I love football, this may be one of the worst losses I've done seen from a team in a recent memory. And it's funny to me because Dallas hold a lot of those losses. I told you, I don't have nothing personal against Dallas. I'm not no Dallas hater or nothing like that. I'm not like the people in the media who just be hating on Dallas for no reason. I'm also not somebody who be overhyping Dallas. Even though the one season that I picked Dallas to get to the Super Bowl in that division, the motherfuckers missed the playoffs that year and had an atrocious year. So, an atrocious year. So, ignore that. We're going to edit that out. I'm not. But listen. So, I'm not coming from a place of somebody who be hating on Dallas or anything of that type of nonsense. Here's my problem with this loss for Dallas. Because it's a couple things that really irritate me about this loss. You got a 14-point lead going into the fourth quarter. I don't give a damn that it's on the road. You're playing against a team that couldn't score the ball all season. The points they put up in this game, I think, was either the most or the second most points they didn't put up all season. I'm talking about the Packers. And the other game where they put up a lot of points, that was early in the season, I believe. But the fact that you let this team that couldn't even put up 20 against the Detroit fucking Lions, the worst defense in football, the fact that you let them motherfuckers put up 31, 32 against you is just 31. The fact that you let them put up 31 against you, to me, is just disgraceful. With the defense you got, all I hear about is Micah Parsons being 11 from heaven. The fucking MVP, defensive MVP, could be in the running for MVP, the generational talent that he is and things. Bro, you got to put that type of game away. I don't give a damn if that's Aaron Rodgers, bro. Aaron Rodgers, that's the same Aaron Rodgers that lost 5 games in a row these last couple weeks because they couldn't find a way to score. It's absolutely ridiculous. And you want to know what? I give this to certain people. Some people told me that this is one of them things where, like, I talk about how Russell Wilson just is not good against the Rams. Like, go look at Russell Wilson's tape. Against the Rams and the Packers, Russell Wilson put up some historically bad numbers. He found a way to beat the Rams. To beat the Packers somehow with those atrocious numbers. But he always lose to the Rams. Like, I don't know what it is, but I always pick against Russell Wilson when he play against that team, specifically the Rams. Maybe this is actually one of them situations where if the Packers played against the Cowboys, just take the Packers because this is their kryptonite. And I don't necessarily know if that's true or not, but I was told that in the upcoming week leading up to that game. But that's neither here nor there. This is an embarrassing loss. For one, you playing in a division where you cannot afford to drop a loss like this. That's one. Because the other teams in your division beat this team. The Commanders, I don't even know if the Commanders done played them. Yeah, I think the Commanders have played these motherfuckers and beat them. So, yeah, it's unacceptable to lose this game. To me, and I think the Eagles haven't played the Packers yet, but I do think they got the Packers later on, which I'm taking the Eagles to win that game. Like, to me, the fact that Dallas can continue to have such, they can woo you by playing so great. And as soon as you start to put lofty expectations on them, like high expectations on them, they just do shit where you like, bro, what is going on? Like, the year where Dak's rookie year, where him and Zeke and that team was just crazy great, I really thought that might be a team that headed to the Super Bowl. And I don't blame them for that because they were still young at the end of the day. But it's just more that narrative of the recent memory of Dallas not getting it done. Those Tony Romo teams that had all that talent never getting it done. It's just like, come on, bro. And then you see some of their talent leave and go win other places and help get to Super Bowls in other places. So, to me, it's just an upsetting loss, especially if you're a Dallas fan. Like, I imagine Dallas fans is super irritated, but then when you woke up on Tuesday morning, you was even more pissed off, seeing as how the Eagles lost on Monday Night Football to the Commanders. But this is one of the reasons that people don't pick Dallas to win the Super Bowl. This is one of the reasons that people don't choose Dallas when they talk about teams that can legitimately go win big-time games and to get to a Super Bowl. This is one of the reasons people are so critical of Dak Prescott. And listen, Dak did throw 2 ugly interceptions. One of the interceptions he threw to me was uglier than the second one, because the first interception you throw coming off the back of your defense getting you a turnover, putting you right in the red zone, and you turn the shit right over. And that right there could have been too much for the Packers to come back against. That's a 14-0 lead right there if you convert that. If nothing else, you get 3 points out of it. Dak Prescott throw an interception. I don't understand why you choose not to even try to. Matter of fact, to be completely honest with you, I don't even have a huge problem with it, even though Pollard did dominate this game, so you would imagine they would have gave Pollard some touches down there. Either way, you can't turn that ball over in that play, especially coming off the back of your defense getting a turnover themselves. And the defense is not without flaw, because to give up over 200 yards running the fucking ball on the ground, that is the Achilles heel of this Dallas defense. And they decided to go, and they went up against a team that could run the ball. See, this was the most shocking win of the season. This was one of the most shocking games of the season to me. And it's not because the Packers won this game. It's because the Dallas Cowboys, everything they did to lose this game. But the Packers winning this game doesn't shock me. If you listen to me every single fucking week I get on here, I say the way that this Packers team can turn this shit around and win games. And by the time I was saying this, it was early enough for them to have done this and get on the road, because they could have won these games by doing what I'm running the ball. You have Aaron Jones, you have Dillon. Those are far more comparable backs than most teams have in order to run your team through those two, and have Aaron Rodgers playing off of play action. It's very funny that that's what they did in this game, and look how well it worked. So if that type of game plan could work against the Dallas defense, you telling me that can't work against the Detroit Lions defense, the Vikings defense? And I don't know why they choose not to, speaking on the Packers, not to implement that as the game plan. That's what we are doing. This is the game plan. That's how we going to win. I don't get it. Maybe it's the feed Aaron Rodgers' ego. I don't get it. I done said multiple times I think Matt LaFleur is a good head coach. That's why it's very strange to me that he hadn't implemented, like, let's run the ball, because we can run the ball and our defense is more than good. Like, I see how people was taking shots at the Green Bay defense, and I've been very consistent all year with 3 teams specifically talking about their defenses. 4. Denver, Tampa, Rams, and this team, Green Bay. All 4 of these defenses, I've heard people in the media and sports media on TV talk about how take shots. Denver, not so much. These other defenses, I heard people how they say, oh, they not playing as good, yada, yada, yada. Every single one of them teams got offenses that have played below average this season that make it so hard to continuously go out there on a week-to-week basis and try to stop teams when your offense give you absolutely nothing. And you look at different aspects of all those teams I just named, the offenses are terrible at different type things. Some of the offense is terrible at running and passing. But look at a team like the Tampa Bay, the worst running team in football. The one thing that I think separate all those teams I just named, however, is the fact that the fucking Packers don't have to be right there. I can understand why the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right there. You got dudes in and out of the lineup. Maybe Tom Brady's age, even though I don't think that matters because Tom Brady done been good this year. I just think you different, the in and out of the lineup, new head coach, different for that. I can understand that. I do not understand when you have two horses, two stallions in the back of the backfield, and you just choosing not to let them carry the load. I don't get that, because that's exactly why I continuously said you give Kevin Stefanski this exact roster, and this is an undefeated team more than likely, because Kevin Stefanski is running the fuck out of the ball with these two running backs. You cannot tell me, and I done said this multiple times about Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones may be the best route runner, receiver, and runner on this fucking team. I don't really think people understand how great Aaron Jones is as a player. Like, Aaron Jones is an absolute stud. A.J. Dillon is a stud too, but he is a stud as to me as far as running. Like, A.J. Dillon could be your bell cow running back, as could Aaron Gordon. But Aaron Gordon is more like Alvin Kamara and Christian McCaffrey than people think. Might be better than them on some days. Now, obviously, you think I'm crazy saying that, but if Aaron Jones played for a different team that wasn't so Devontae Adams-centric over the last couple years, I think people would have seen how like if Aaron Jones was with the Baltimore Ravens, he would have been a Pro Bowl player the last couple years. Like, and I think people still realize how great of a player Aaron Jones is, but I understand how good of a player Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon is, and the fact that you have those two running backs in the backfield, a team like Carolina would kill for that. A team like the Tampa Bay would kill for that. A team like the San Francisco, Kyle Shanahan would, not now because he got C-Mac. But shit, Aaron Jones stay healthy. So I'm just saying, when I look at this team, they have the talent on offense because you have two fucking stallions. And when you have Aaron Rodgers, and listen, the more and more I done watch Christian, the young receiver, I can't remember what his name is at the moment. It's not Christian Watkins. But the more and more I'm looking at his young receiver, the more and more I'm understanding Aaron Rodgers' problem with him. He's not a hands receiver. He had 2 drops to start this game, and obviously he had that catch where they just Dallas let the dude run past him. Dude came into the game with 88 yards on the season, finished with the game with 4 catches, 3 touchdowns, 100-something yards. That's embarrassing. That's just embarrassing. Like, point blank period. Where was the pass rush? Where was the defense played bad in this game? And people can say Dallas, Dak Prescott threw 2 interceptions, but after those 2 interceptions, he was fine. CeeDee Lamb was fine. He had a career day on the day. Like, the offense to me was more than good enough. For the simple fact they put up 30-something fucking points. I mean, they put up 28 points, which is more than enough to beat the Packers this year. More than enough. So I'm not trying to hear that shit where people talking about some old Dak Prescott cost them. No, the fuck he didn't. This fucking defense cost you the game. Because the Packers hadn't been able to put up this type of fucking points all year. I just watched them struggle to put up points against the Lions. I don't even think they put up 20 against the Lions, if I'm remembering correctly. But somehow they was able to put up 31 against Dallas's defense. That you would think is light years better than the Lions defense this year. And I know some nerd gonna come out somewhere, well, if you look at the statistics, the last couple of weeks, I don't care about that. I'm thinking about the overall season of these two teams. The defense for the Lions have not been nowhere near what the defense of Dallas has been. I watched what Dallas's defense did with Cooper Rush at the helm. And for some odd reason, and I don't want to hear that shit, oh, it's Aaron Rodgers. Like I said, it's the same Aaron Rodgers. They struggled to score points the last 5 L's they took. So, to me, if you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, this is a disgraceful loss to me. This is like one of them losses that really pissed me off about my team, that make me realize, we might not be the team that I think we are, because there's no fucking reason as to why we should have just lost to this team. Point blank period. Tony Pollard is, I want to speak on him real quick, stud. Zeke might have lost his job, because Tony Pollard, with the backup to him, is good enough to be the 2 starting backs for you, the starting and the back. Now, I understand Tony do not pick up the blitz like a Zeke Elliott, but you don't pay Zeke Elliott that much money to pick up no fucking blitz. You pay him to give you the production that Tony Pollard been giving you the last couple weeks. And I understand, it's a love affair there between Jerry Jones and his love for Dak. I mean, not for Dak, but his love for Zeke. But Zeke's not going to be I imagine Zeke's going to end up being, I don't think he want to play in a cold weather, but the cold states is the ones that need him, unless he head to the Rams. I can see him trying to go to LA or something like that, but it's just very hard for me to see Zeke continuing to be a Dallas Cowboy with how productive Tony Pollard is. Unless Tony Pollard priced himself out of Dallas, which I can't see that happening. I would think that he would take a pay cut to stay in Dallas. But that's my thoughts on the Dallas Green Bay game. I'm going to talk more about Green Bay. This was more so about Dallas. I'm going to talk about more about Green Bay in a different video. But just to me, and don't be blaming this loss on Dak, bro. Like, bro, people act like quarterbacks can't throw interceptions and shit like that. That's just absolutely wild to me. But heading into talking about, let's talk about another game. Seattle, Tampa Bay, the Munich game. A very interesting game. Because you see, I said I wanted to see Geno and those boys against a team like this. I really did, because as good as I think this team has played, I think this got more to do with the fact that Geno and them boys don't really turn the ball over. And the fact that they don't turn the ball over, and they don't really, I like the offense that they run and whatnot, but it's not like they lighten you up, through the air. Geno's stats look great at the end of the game, but they do a lot of the short routes and things like that, because they did it in this game. And they very effective at it. And Geno can hit a throw every drive or so to get you, to make big, to have a, he can make the big play when it's a big play to be made, especially with the talent that they got on the outside in Seattle. And I like the run game for Seattle. This, to me, this was a good loss for Seattle. It's no such thing as a good loss, because they almost came back and won this game. However, they did turn the ball over in this game, something that they really don't do. Like, that's a common thing between some of the teams that lost this week. Like, the Eagles. The turnover ratio that they had was insane. Like, historically great on how they don't turn the ball. Well, that started to even itself out last night when they turned the ball over so many times against the Commanders. And I think that that's one of the things that's going to help Seattle so much. Now, I do think Seattle's a good team. However, I don't think Seattle's defense is like a world-beating defense right now. I think they're a good defense. I don't think they like special, though. I think what's keeping Seattle and what makes Seattle look good is the fact that you can play complementary football. Your offense can score, your defense get the stops that you need, and that make you a great team. However, I do think, and I love Geno and how he playing this year, but I still do want to see Seattle play against some more top teams. Like, it's tough because this division they in this year don't really present them that type of test unless they play San Fran, because the Rams and the Cardinals are so bad this year. And it is a lot of different bad teams. And it's not really fair to them because, like, say they go and beat the Giants. I understand that's a big win because of the Giants' record. It wouldn't necessarily move me because it's who is at playing quarterback. I want to see the Seattle Seahawks beat teams that's led by quarterbacks that I have a little bit of faith. I wouldn't even mind seeing them beat the Vikings or play a great game against the Vikings, because that's the only way I'm seeing how they can be tested, because I just think Seattle is too well coached. They play too good as a team right now. To lose to some of these teams in the AFC is just not good right now. Like, that's just my thoughts on that. And then but that was a big win for Goat Brady and them boys. Like I said, I was never concerned about Tampa because they're gonna win that division. They're the best team in that division. They got the best quarterback. They don't even have to be the best team in the division. They got the best quarterback in the division. The rumors of Brady's demise have been greatly exaggerated. If you watch these games, it's nothing wrong with Brady's arm. He threw a pick in this game, and it was a bad pick. I just don't think he saw the dude sitting over the middle. And if he did, I just thought he would have got it over him. But either way, I don't think it's anything wrong with Brady's arm. The thing that's wrong with Tampa Bay is that these motherfuckers can't run. But they had a great running game in this one. Now, I don't know if the running back who dominated this game for them will come back and have another good game. He had, in his first, 11 weeks, I think they say he had a combined like 118 yards. And in this game, he had like 100 and something. So, I don't know if they can expect him to be good on the ground for them. They haven't been expecting. And it wasn't Leonard Fournette, because Leonard Fournette, it was a different dude. I think it was Davis. But Leonard Fournette been struggling all year for him also. So, if you Tampa Bay, and that's another place where Zeke could end up going if he end up getting released or traded from the Cowboys. But if you Tampa Bay, I do think they trying to figure out, like right now, who can be the bell cow back, because Tom Brady is going to need a bell cow back when he get to the playoffs to be able to check the ball down to, because that's the thing that I think this offense is kind of missing. They can complete all type of passes and things like that when Brady got the time. I just think his offensive line has struggled a little bit, and they don't run the ball good enough for where defenses can commit to trying to defend the run. So when Brady popped that bad boy out, there's somebody sprinting wide open because they got to commit to the run. But I do believe that Tampa Bay is just going to continue to get better as the season goes on. I said in the beginning of the season that I thought the type of season Tampa would have is a season where they get better as the season go on. They're not going to start hot for some reason. I just didn't feel like this was going to be the season where they started hot, especially when you have Brady retiring, unretiring. That just don't spell to me Julio signed late as shit. It just didn't spell to me a team, a new head coach. It just wasn't going to be a team, if I can finally get this sentence out, that was going to be start the season off like world beaters. But they're going to get it right because the division they play in fucking sucks. So, you know. And we going to bless you again, Brady. Hey, listen, Baltimore looked out for you by beating the Saints. Motherfuckers walk around thinking the Saints was nice. We exposed Andy. Even though the team before them, us, did that too. Listen, now we finna look out for you and beat Baker Mayfield. You know I'm chomping at the bit for this one. You know how hot I'll be if we lose this fucking game to Carolina. I want Baker Mayfield to throw about 4-5 interceptions, and I want them to sack that motherfucker about 6-7 times. I am not bullshitting with you. If the Ravens dropping Baker Mayfield picks left and right, I will be heated this game. I'm not stunting with you. And to get into this 49ers game real quick, this 49ers chart. Oh, no. Matter of fact, I'm going to talk about that one on a different day. I want to talk about the Minnesota and Buffalo when they close this out real fast. And I'm going to talk more about Buffalo in my next video. But talking about Minnesota. Listen, this is a big win for Minnesota. And I'm not taking anything away from Minnesota. This is the type of win that proves that you can get it done against good teams. However, my problem, and as unfair as it may be, I just have to see Kirk Cousins get it done in the playoffs. Kirk Cousins is not young anymore. Kirk Cousins done been doing this for a long time, so this not a Josh Allen, a Pat Mahomes if he hadn't had the success yet, or a Lamar, a Joe Burrow if he hadn't had, like, this ain't them. They young. I expect them to have some growing pains. Kirk Cousins done been in the league for a while now. So I expect him to have been better in the playoffs at this point in time. And it just has been better, period. And so, listen, Kirk Cousins made some great throws in this game down the stretch. But if Josh Allen don't bobble that fucking handoff to end the game, the Vikings don't win this game. If Josh Allen don't play so piss poor in the second half or in the fourth quarter of this game, the Vikings don't win this game. And listen, I understand that's a part of football. These things happen. These things have to happen for you to win games. But I don't necessarily believe that. Josh Allen don't have to play bad. If we are a great team, we can still beat Josh Allen playing at his best. I know how crazy that is. But it's only one quarterback in the NFL who I think if he playing at his best and everybody else playing at their best, it is probably damn near impossible to beat. And that's Pat Mahomes. The other two is borderline Lamar and Tom Brady. But Josh Allen has given you chances to pick him off every single fucking game he play. And I love Josh Allen, but Josh Allen give you opportunities to pick him off. It is what it is. And so I don't expect Josh Allen to be that bad again. And Josh Allen is damn near impossible to beat too. When he on his A game and when Stephon Diggs going, I just find it different because I see these other dudes do it without having a Stephon Diggs at their disposal. But to me, I understand the Viking fans want they respect, and I'm not shitting on I don't think the Vikings is a bad team or nothing like that. Like I said, they are definitely a Super Bowl contender, because what is a Super Bowl contender? If I'm not saying that a team with this type of record is a Super Bowl contender, then it would make no sense, because this is a team that's going to get to the playoffs. When I talk about the Vikings, I'm talking about as good as I see, because I done seen the Vikings be good in the past, bro. I saw somebody today say Kirk Cousins finally got weapons. This motherfucker has never not had weapons when he was in Minnesota. He done had weapons his whole career. He done been in Minnesota. Hell, he had weapons when he was in Washington. So this little narrative that Kirk Cousins is just now getting weapons is just insane to me. It's revisionist history, bro. But I'm not hating on Kirk Cousins. I like Kirk Cousins for one. I done said that multiple times. I said that last year I was raving for Kirk Cousins. But I see what Kirk Cousins is. I was hyped on the Vikings last year. And then I saw what Kirk Cousins ended up ultimately doing. This is kind of like the Tennessee situation where the Ryan Tannehill can play as good as he can have a strong stretch of games. And you just know, because it done happened so many times now, at the end of the day, he has a ceiling. It just is what it is. That's why it's crazy that people try to give Lamar Jackson a ceiling. When this motherfucker only done been in the league for what, 4 or 5 years now? This is 5th year or his, like, you look at some of these young quarterbacks who people try to write off, especially ones who already done achieved a certain amount of success. Like, I just don't see how you can write somebody like Lamar Jackson, the accomplishments that he already done had, to try to tell me that he can't win because his team can't get it done in the playoffs. I mean, we act like, I really still don't understand the people who act like Josh Allen and already won a Super Bowl. I saw somebody tweet that Lamar Jackson was once considered, like, they was naming, it was a Chiefs fan talking about all the quarterbacks people said was better than Pat Mahomes. Bro, nobody has ever said Lamar Jackson was better than Pat Mahomes. Literally, the media has never pushed that narrative. That was him throwing Lamar Jackson in there just to name all the good young quarterbacks and make Pat Mahomes even greater. But what Chief fans got to understand at some point in time is y'all letting these people's y'all letting these sports analysts steer y'all up for absolutely no reason, bro. Like, we all know Pat Mahomes is that guy. Like, what real fan is not saying Pat Mahomes? Like, it ain't no franchise right now that wouldn't trade their quarterback for Pat Mahomes. None. So, bro, y'all gotta chill, bro. Y'all be disrespecting other quarterbacks because of how great y'all quarterback is. Y'all gonna fuck around and he ain't gonna win another Super Bowl his whole career because y'all... Nah, it don't work like that, bro. Y'all stupidity not gonna stop his greatness. But listen, bro, y'all really gotta chill. I hate it when people do this. It's like that thing where people try to compare Brady to everybody that shouldn't be compared to Brady at the time. Like, it's just outrageous comparisons. Like, it's insane, bro. So, I appreciate y'all for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. This is part 1 of the Week 10 recap. We will be back to talk about 3 more games. I'm not specific. I'm not sure which 3 games it's going to be, but we will go over 3 more games, and we're going to take a deeper dive eventually in a different video about Buffalo side of things. But with that, I appreciate y'all for joining me. Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. Saint out.
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, you know she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy. Scoop her up like I'm raking her something. You would think shawty red track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber. You out here chasing the bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home. Tight.